Welcome back to the Listen Up Podcast, where we analyze a new album each week. I'm Jamie, and this week we've got me, Nick.
I'm a gummy bear.
And Jordan.
Little Kern on the beat.
This week we're going to be taking a look at The Nashville Sound by Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit, released in 2017, and it was picked by Nick. Nick, why did you choose this album this week?
Because I'm going to see Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit later this week.
Oh,
actually, before this,
it's Wednesday.
This episode comes out.
Yes.
But next pod, I'll be sure to give a concert review, which I'm sure will probably be a 10 out of 10 because
it is awesome.
Jamie's hyped up their live show for a long time. He's wearing the shirt right now.
I am. I'm not pictured, but I'm wearing my Something More Than Free tour shirt I got when we went and saw them. Well, actually, I guess I saw that concert on a double date with my parents.
Oh.
Hell yeah. That's based.
It was 2015 or 2016. Yeah, we went, my high school girlfriend and I, and
Vic.
My parents went. No, not Vic. Not my current fiance, my ex-girlfriend. Yeah, we went and saw Jason Isbell.
Yeah.
And I love that concert, and I was only like, I had like inklings of getting into his music, so like now that concert, it would probably retroactively make it an 8 out of 10 and then be a 10 out of 10 because you can't be higher than a 10, mathematically.
Sure. Laws of math.
But actually, so real quick, this album I was trying to remember when it came out, because I guess we'll get into it later on when we get into the tracks. But there's a song on this that's about a relationship, and it didn't really hit me as hard back then, but it hits me way harder now. But I was like, because I think it was between relationships, and it was actually this album. The day that it came out is the day that Vic and I started dating, June 16th, 2017.
Oh, no way.
So, a little over 4 years ago. And it's also the same day that I told her I loved her. So, those two events happened on the same day. And then this album came out on the exact same day as that. So, I couldn't remember that. I didn't remember. I was like, I know it came out in the spring. I thought it came out in like April or May. But no, it came out June 16th. So,
Interesting.
Lots of fun facts with this album. It's also an album that I forget how good it is. Like, I enjoyed it when it came out, and then it's grown on me a lot after that. But I never remember how much I like it. And then listening back to it, I was like, yeah, I know like every word to this album. Like every word to every song.
Every word?
Probably. I mean, I learned song lyrics really quickly. I know quite a lot of song lyrics. My brain just...
Me too, actually. I just listened to the song over and over again. Mm-hmm. I guess it's because this music would be so hard for me to listen to over and over again of memorizing every single word that I'm like, you did that?
Bro, we're gonna crack through that show one day. Suddenly, you're gonna become a fan of Americana, and then your whole life is gonna change, Jordan.
I don't know, dude. I don't know if that's ever gonna happen.
Whoa, you think Jordan can like sad music?
We just have to help you discover emotion.
I like soul. Juice WRLD, okay? That's sad music.
That's like sad.
I feel like it's
music.
I feel like it's like dramatic music.
I was literally about to say
what? That's because you guys don't listen to it. That's definitely sad music, though.
But also, there's a fair amount of Americana that can also be dramatic.
It's true. See, I was gonna say that Juice WRLD makes music. A couple of the songs I do like, but for the most part, like I feel like if you sit and listen to like all of Juice WRLD's music, you probably also put like your thumb over your selfie camera on Snapchat and then put that on your story with like "Real Ones Know What's Wrong" or something like that.
Yeah, I can maybe see that.
We can't speak ill of the dead. Juice WRLD does have.
No,
some,
I mean that's
good,
for the most part. That's for the most part. That's a joke. You know, it's funny to play up things, but also some people just don't pick up on bits. So sometimes you have to specify.
You know, we're all about comedy on these airwaves.
So Jason Isbell.
Isabel.
Nope. Isbell?
Jason
is he a bell?
Is he Bell? No, he's.
Now that I got this bell, ding.
Jason Taco Bell?
Jason Nacho Fry anime ad Bell?
Oh my gosh, the anime ad.
It's so weird. But if you guys are ready, I'm ready to start digging into this one.
Yeah, let's dig.
No. I forgot. We do the Jordan. What did you think of the album Cursory? How did you feel about it?
Is I
better
again?
Would you put it above or below the last one we did way back when, Southeastern?
Oh gosh, I can't even remember, but I feel like above. I feel like I hated every album that you guys picked at the beginning. So not to be mean or anything,
you know, but your scores reflect they're definitely starting to get higher.
You're
trending up. For reference, you gave Southeastern a 4. I gave it a 10.
Oh, didn't you pick it though too?
Okay,
I
should have gave it a 10.
You gave it a 4. That album is 11th overall because of Nick and I.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. That album.
I guess a little bit better. Again, it's just my style of music, so
I still figured you would have liked this one more though, because this one had this one has Anxiety, Cumberland Gap, Molotov. It has Southeastern is, I mean, it's mostly the most energetic.
I gotta say, I do like Cumberland Gap.
Okay,
it's one of my more favorite, but again, it was also one of the more fast paced though as well too.
Right. Yeah. What was your? Me and Nick when we were shooting the shit while you were making popcorn. What was your least favorite? What was your low point on the album?
I don't know if I have usually when I do albums, I just try to take away my favorites, and if there's not a standout least favorite, I don't have if there's just a song that's so bad that I'm wow, that's I just can't do this. But there wasn't that song. I feel like most of them were still just kind of even. All the songs that were kind of just from the beginning, Last of My Kind is kind of slow, and then Tupelo is still kind of slow. All of them starts If We Were Vampires. Again, sorry, I was going through them I kind of forgot which ones were the slower ones at the beginning, but I don't know. I don't have a word. I don't have a least favorite. Which one do you guys think would have been my least favorite?
I would have put money on Chaos and Clothes.
Yeah, I said either Chaos and Clothes or the last song, Something to Love, because Something to Love sounds like a little more bluegrass fused.
But Chaos and Clothes is very quiet and slow and very
low energy. And the message is
a little.
The message is more abstract, seemingly than If We Were Vampires. So I figured
it's probably Something to Love, dude.
I mean, I'll say it. I think that Chaos and Clothes might be my least favorite on the album.
Oh yeah,
it. I like the second refrain in it.
Lovers leave, chaos and clothes, more debris than you can sort through in one go. You say love is hell, but it's the ghost of love that's made you such a mess. Oh yeah. You're in a fight to the death, my
I like the lyricism of it. I mean, obviously it goes without saying. I can say that for every song. The second refrain is good. I like the message is interesting because it's a bunch of references to Ryan Adams. And it's probably
I didn't know
written
that.
about Ryan Adams. I only knew that because, and it's actually very cool. But my dad is also a fan of Ryan Adams' music. He's the one who turned me on to the Truckers and Jason subsequently. And he caught that the song, a lot of it is references to Ryan Adams, like the Ferris wheel and all the monsters
Love
You've
is Hell.
Killed. Love is Hell. I mean, that's an obvious one because that's like Ryan's seminal album.
That's a Ryan Adams album.
But there are a lot of references, and I just thought it was like a breakup song, which it is, but more specifically about Ryan and his recent divorce and like maybe him falling back down the path of the wicked path. But he actually caught that it's a reference to a lot. Like a lot of it are references to Ryan and his discography. Within like the first couple listens, he was like, I think this has to do with Ryan Adams. I hope Ryan's not like, back on his benders and everything.
Yeah.
And then like, a couple years ago with the news, and it's like, I don't know. That's definitely, Ryan Adams is one of like the classic examples of like, everyone knows he's an asshole. And then like he makes good music, but he, like the reason he's around is purely because of music. Like, he's just not a good person, like for by and large. I think he's had his moments of ups and downs, but he typically more down than up.
Yeah, I was reading some stuff about him. I didn't know he was pretty close with Jason. Whenever in Jason's earlier days, like pre-rehab days, I read something at least that said Ryan Adams like helped him get into rehab, and I was like, I think usually you don't. Usually you don't read anything redeeming about Ryan Adams. Yeah, but
I think him and Jason's wife Amanda, who's a fucking world-class musician in her own right, with the high women and everything she's doing, a very badass. But yeah, him his second rehab stint that stuck. I think Ryan and Amanda were like the main driving factors that got him to go back to rehab, and then that's what stuck and ultimately got him out of the ditch.
True.
So yeah, and so then when Ryan, I think when like his divorce, I think it was in 2016 from Mandy Moore. It's just kind of the song is specifically about that, but abstractly it's kind of about just failed relationship and like ghosts of your past, lovers wise. But the second refrain in it, I do leave. It's lovers leave chaos and clothes, more debris than you can sort through in one go. You say love is hell, but it's the ghost of love that's made you such a mess, which is fascinating. I think that's a very it's poetic. It's talking about how like it's not love that causes pain whenever it's gone. It's what's left behind in the absence of what was once there.
True.
The spectral form of love. So I think that's cool. Much like everything else. I mean, like I said last time, there are 1,000 ways to say things, and Jason always chooses like the right one. He's like fucking Doctor Strange running through all the timelines. He's like, this one will cut right to the bone.
Hearing him, because I really struggle to figure out when I first really got into Jason Isbell. I can't pinpoint it, but I remember the first time I really like took notice of like his music and like wanted to check him out more. I don't think I really dug into him, but was when I saw his Tiny Desk concert, and it was his performance of Chaos and Clothes. I was like,
oh, interesting.
I was like this guy, he's spitting some crazy stuff right now. He's like, everything he's saying, like
Chaos and Clothes, Molotov, and
I forget the other song that he sings.
Yeah, that Tiny Desk is actually funny because he messes up the first phrase in Molotov and then like starts it again. He's like, but it's something so minor. He said, I actually wrote it down because it's funny, but he says, in the start it says, something in a steamy September, and in the Tiny Desk he says, whatever, a steamy September instead of in steamy September. And he was like, "Let's restart that. I messed up that word." He said, "I spent so long on that." He said,
"I didn't know it was that
so long on that word." And then I said the wrong damn one. And then
that's funny.
But I think like along with the song, it's really funny that I'm like a huge Dawes fan. Mm-hmm. Dawes is one of my favorite all-time bands, and Ryan Adams divorced from Mandy Moore in 2016, and now Mandy Moore is married to the lead singer of Dawes. And Okay, his name's Taylor Goldsmith, but there's a line in this song where Jason says, "The man she chose to take your place turns his collar up to better frame his face."
Right.
It sounds a little like a roast to me, man. Like it sounds a little, I don't know, like it's like it seems like not like a huge slight, but it sounds kind of trying to comfort someone a little bit by like picking on someone else in a conversation who's not there. It's not like a huge drag, but I just thought it was really funny that like I had this
who's
connection
like the
to the
butt
song.
of that. Yeah.
And someone said that on Genius too. Like if you click on it, it shows a picture of Taylor Goldsmith and Mandy Moore, and like Dawes and Jason Isbell have played in shows like together and stuff. Like there's no bad blood, but I just thought I thought it was funny when I read that. I was like, wait, this song's about Ryan Adams, and he's talking about the guy that Ryan Adams' wife left him for,
and that guy is Taylor.
Yeah, but and also right after that he says, "How you'd love to hate her, but you just can't hate somebody you don't know." Wild.
God, I don't love this song. Like it's probably my least, like I said, low point on the album. But I could still go like all day talking about like the lines in it. But you mentioned that you didn't like how the album started off slow with "Last of My Kind," right, Jordan?
Mm-hmm.
I love the tone that song sets for the entire album. I'm so glad that this is the opening track.
The look of bewilderment on Jordan's face.
I know the utter confusion, because it sets
on
up
my unfocused camera.
It sets up the idea of the whole album is talking about like the Nashville Sound, which is it originates harkening back to the transition from like honky tonk sound in the 1940s, 1950s, with adding in some more smoothness from pop influences in the Nashville country scene to kind of
pop harmonies and stuff.
Yeah, to try to modernize country and keep it, commercially viable with the times. And so that's where you hear the Nashville Sound, and then there's also outlaw country, that's the divergence. So you have like Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, all of that. That's like the outlaw country. And then you have the Nashville Sound, which was the more popular country, which I think probably has then found its way into what became the 80s and 90s, like Travis Tritt, stuff like that. And then kind of it keeps blossoming out. But there was like a divergence there. And it's kind of like how you have like East Coast and West Coast sound rap. There's like the Nashville sound, and then there was like the outlaw country sound. It's different now, but that's
Nashville versus the U.S.
Nashville versus more like the like Westerner, but not like all the way Southwest rock, because then you get into like country rock. You get into the Grateful Dead, the Eagles, all that.
Florida Georgia Line.
Wait.
That is literally
do you know where
the most
Florida
eastern
is?
states in the U.S. are.
But I'm saying their sound is still like that, even though they're called Florida. They're actually based out of Texas, Florida Georgia Line. No, I actually don't know.
Oh, I was like, I imagine they're grifters, so I wouldn't be surprised.
That would be disgusting.
But we need to call more people grifters. That's
I don't even know what that word means.
Like a grift is like a con, so they're like con people.
Oh, okay.
But like less nefarious.
That's an accurate word. The Florida Georgia Line.
But so
conning you into listening
the whole
to
album
their music
touches on different aspects of country, whatever, like the umbrella term of country. You've got like coal country with Cumberland Gap. You've got the bluegrass sound with a few tracks. You've got just like general country, like Last of My Kind kind of stuff. But so I think it sets up a really good tone where it talks about, am I the last of my kind? Like, am I the last person in this ever-changing and evolving world? It's kind of, the song touches on the feelings of kind of being passed by the evolving world around you. And kind of in a despairing way, kind of just in like a reflective way. But I don't know. I love the song, but it's also because I really feel like I in my soul I feel the start of the song. It starts off the album, and it's the first verse. It says, "I couldn't be happy in the city at night. You can't see the stars from the neon light. Sidewalks dirty and the river's worse. Underground trains all run in reverse."
Couldn't be happy in the city at night. You can't see the stars from the neon light. Sidewalks dirty and the river's worse. Underground trains all run in reverse. Nobody here can dance like me. Everybody clapping on the 1 and the 3. Am I the last of my kind? Am I?
Less so with the subway thing. I don't really know what that means. But, like, I just... Increasingly, I appreciate not being in a city. I appreciate outside of cityness. Living in Raleigh is a small scale example, but then in Denver, it's like, it also doesn't help. I mean, there is a lot of beauty outside of the city. I do live in Denver, and it's nice. I really like it out here, but I just really, really miss foliage and lots of bird song and clean air and just a lot more like verdancy in my life. That's really why I loved like the area I used to live in, Raleigh, before moving out here, like the last year at school. Just being out in the woods, but still being like a 5-minute drive to shopping centers in Cary and then a 10-minute drive to downtown. That was like literally couldn't get any better than that to me.
Yeah.
So I every time that song starts, more and more, like as time goes on, I just feel that so fucking much.
I was gonna say, even just being 22 years old, like, I feel like there's cultural references that I already don't understand when I like get on Twitter or TikTok sometimes. It's not that often, but it's like, it like every once in a while I'm like, I don't understand the context of this meme or like of this word. Like, oh my God, I need to figure this out.
I can't be this old, this young. I'm way too young to be feeling old.
Feeling this old.
Fuck!
Wait, what is that from again?
Mac. It's off of way too young to be feeling.
Oh,
old.
I'm thinking of a different song entirely.
Oh, it's off of Circles, the song I was referencing. I can't remember which one, but it's really good.
I feel like it's a Kanye song also, right?
I don't know.
Oh, no. It's a Drake song.
Oh yeah, I don't know what that.
Man, they treat me like a legend. Am I really this cold? I'm really too young to be feeling this old.
Never heard
Nice.
Over?
I know way too many people here right now that
I've
I
heard
didn't
that part.
know.
I've heard the chorus, yeah.
Who'd up?
Last year. Y'all, I swear been like the last few nights we've been everywhere. Anyways, I'm going to stop.
Jamie just be like,
I do not know that one.
Jamie's a passion fruit stan.
Cups to the rose. And then Nick cries
Also,
in
Marvin's
his bedroom.
room. Marvin's room. Banger.
Wait.
Look what you've done.
Wait.
Headlines.
I need to listen to
Hotline
Take
Bling.
Care.
Take Care is great.
Hotline Bling is a good song.
It is. People shit on it because it got played so much. But if you go back to it now, Hotline Bling is really good.
No, I still like that.
I love it. I'll cue it
guy
up
on
on parties.
TikTok it's like he reads the Twitter things and he's like, "Be careful, Ben. The day of reckoning is coming."
I do not know what
it's
that
this
is.
dude doing like goofy it's like reading goofy tweets and then like people stitch it with just like this cursed image. It's like in black and white and it's like, but there's so many of them. Like, and then I went to his like most recent video and then every comment on that dude's actual recent video, it's like, "We're coming for you, Benjamin." And it's like turning the stitches off and the duets off isn't going to do anything.
What the fuck? That's pretty funny.
I'll show you guys that. It's actually so funny.
Did you guys see they turned off the duets on the Starbucks Chance the Rapper?
Yes, I saw that. Okay, we got to get back to this because I have like a billion.
Okay,
notes
sorry. Yeah. That was really funny.
So, my last thoughts on Last of My Kind, other than it's one of my favorites on the album, but also musically, I enjoyed the whole song. But specifically, I love the second chorus, like the sound of the second chorus. It's one of my favorite parts of the album where he says, "Mama says God won't give you too much to bear. That might be true in Arkansas, but I'm a long, long way from there."
Last of my kind. Mama says God won't give you too much to bear. Might be true in Arkansas, but I'm a long, long way from there. And that whole world's an old and faded picture in my mind. Am I the last of my kind?
The way that he like holds out those notes and like, oh, love it. Also, I like the sentiment of the first chorus where it says, Daddy said the river would always lead me home, but the river can't take me back in time, and Daddy's dead and gone.
Last of my kind. Daddy said the river would always lead me home, but the river can't take me back in time, and Daddy's dead and gone. And the family farm's a parking lot for Walton's five and dime. Am I the last?
Fuck. Like, if that doesn't already get you in like that kind of mood, you're like, shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, you can listen or you can hear, but you're not listening if you don't feel something. You know. Jordan, you're not listening. You're hearing. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Also, I was gonna ask real quick.
I'm just messing.
Is And the 400 Unit a collab on this album, or is that his band?
So that's his band. They're not even his backing band. It's just his band. But sometimes it's just Jason Isbell. And then sometimes it's Isbell and the 400 Unit. Like Southeastern is Jason Isbell.
That's what I thought.
The 400 Unit plays the music. So I'm not sure why some are them and some aren't, but it makes it really hard because there's a This Is playlist for Jason Isbell and there's a This Is playlist for the Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit, and I want one that has both because like they all his albums have great songs. I want on this.
I was about to say that would be. That would
but
be
the 400 Unit, they actually their namesake comes from a mental institution near where Jason grew up in Alabama, called the 400 Unit, and that's where the name just comes from that. I think they literally just like maybe saw a sign or something. Were like, that's cool.
Interesting.
But that's where that comes from. But yeah, that's just his. It's just his band. Chad Gamble, Derry DeBorja, Jimbo Hart, Sadler Vaden, and whenever she's not touring doing her own shit, Amanda Pearl Shires, his wife, on the fiddle. Good people.
Good people.
True.
One of my favorite albums by them is a live album of theirs that's incredible.
Agreed.
That's besides the point. But yeah, so you said what?
Have you heard his cover of Into the Mystic?
Yes.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Love
Into
it.
the Mystic.
Listen to it in the shower this morning.
There's another one that's on This Is. I know it from his This Is playlist. There's another one that's really good. His cover of New York Minute's pretty good.
I don't think I know that. Poncho and Lefty's really good.
Poncho and Lefty's. Well, New York Minute, I'm pretty sure is Billy Joel originally. But his cover's really good. But then there's another one that's like something about when your last dollar's spent. I don't remember the name. It's on his This Is playlist. There's some good ones. But Jordan, you said you like Cumberland Gap, right?
Yeah. It was one of my more
I assumed you would.
attractive pieces on the
album. My text auto-corrected, and I don't know what I originally wrote here, but it makes no sense what I said. But I really like it because it's so the whole album is talking about the Nashville Sound and the different like changing perspectives that are encompassing it, and one of them is the influences of coal country. And so that's what this song's about. Yeah, the
Kushna country.
No, like coal mining, like West Virginia, Ohio, the Cumberland Gap. That's the area right there in the Ohio River Valley that most of the coal in America comes from.
Interesting.
But I like how you start off the albums in such a like acoustic way, and then this one just starts out with like just angry guitar and like like the whole song all the way through. You really feel the anger that the song is meant to convey.
about to say I do like the guitar in this one.
It
a little
really,
distorted.
Yeah, but like a good amount of distortion where it's like still country adjacent, but it's like fucking mad about it. It's mad about the coal, like being trapped in the Cumberland Gap, trapped under like the thumb of coal companies.
Trapped in the Cumberland Gap.
Where coal companies don't pay their employees in money, they pay them in company points, which is then how you buy food at the company store.
Jason Isbell being a millionaire, singing about coal.
I don't think they still do that.
No, that was the thing. I think now like everyone's pretty much agreed that that's like immoral and illegal.
I was going to say, there's no way.
70s and 80s though, that was how they did it. I mean, that's how you keep people broken in your job in that kind of environment. How else are you going to get them to stay?
I heard Sturgill talk about that. Talk about his grandpa being in that.
It's crazy. It's like steroid levels of like how you can underpay waitresses.
Yeah.
I mean, so the song starts off. There's an answer here if I look hard enough. There's a reason why I always reach for the harder stuff. It wasn't my daddy's way. He was down on the mines all day. I know he wanted more than mouths to feed and bills to pay.
There's an answer here if I look hard enough. There's a reason why I always reach for the harder stuff. It wasn't my daddy's way. He was down in the mines all day. I know he wanted more than mouths to feed and bills to pay.
Like so Jason writes a lot of songs. He's not the main character in his songs a lot of times. Some of them are. Like Southeastern, that's a lot of it are him. But in something like this, like it's talking about the perpetuation of how like people stay broke and angry at their lives, but then they're so broke that they can't leave or they're tied down to their small town for a different reason. I mean, it talks about like his daddy was the coal miner, but he's just stuck here and he's mad.
Yeah.
But okay, so first off, I learned the word amphibole from this song. Never gonna use it. No, amphibole. So in the bridge,
I thought that's what I said. No.
Oh, I don't know. I couldn't tell what you said. It kind of distorted there.
But amphibole.
Yeah. It's a mineral. It's like a shiny mineral that you would see in a coal mine. I'd never heard it before, and I didn't even know what he said there. That was always one of those situations where you just make sounds because you don't know the word. And I found that when looking at the lyrics. So, learn something. But like the third verse is like the best. It really drives home the point of the whole thing. So the lyrics first off are, I thought about moving away, but what would my mama say? I'm all that she has left and I'm with her every day. As soon as the sun goes down, I find my way to the Mustang Lounge. And if you don't sit facing the window, you could be in any town.
I thought about moving away, but what would my mama say? I'm all that she has left, and I'm with her every day. As soon as the sun goes down, I find my way to the Mustang Lounge. And if you don't sit facing the window, you could be in any town.
So it's just talking about how like it starts off in 7 lines. It already covers, I'm trapped here because of family ties. I don't want to disappoint my family, so I'm going to perpetuate the cycle. But I'm mad about it, and then turning to vices to like mentally escape the like self-imposing anguish you're in. Which
that's tough.
Like in seven fucking lines, he covers why people stay in small towns, how bad it sucks, and why they have such high rates of substance and like spousal or domestic abuse in those areas because people are so mad about the state in their lives that they turn to whatever as a relief. Like it's crazy. In 7 lines, he covers all of that. But it doesn't feel too heavy. Like it feels light. And then the instrumentation is just great, where it's just like fucking angry the whole time. Jordan's growling.
Sorry, I was being angry.
We're getting
Cumberland Gap. But Cumberland Gap was one of my highlights on the album.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Again,
it grew on me in time.
Don't love the style. Don't love the style that much. Still,
I got you. That was one of the ones where like I was expecting sort of the whole thing to sound like Last of My Kind. So when the album first came out, I was like, what the hell? This is kind of weird. But it's grown on me in time. Like, I really like it now. That's also a high point for me. But then he goes from that, transitions back into immediately shifts gears and back into like the country with Tupelo, which is a great song.
Tupelo Honeypot.
Mm-hmm. Same namesake, Tupelo.
Shout out to 270-27603.
I think it's Oklahoma. The song is about like escapism from like the problems facing you right now, like envisioning a better, just a better life. Like the chorus is, if I get out of this hole, I'm going to Tupelo. There's a girl out there who will treat me fair. Get about a week of spring and the summer is blistering. There ain't no one from here that'll follow me there. No, there ain't no one that'll follow me from here.
I get out of this hole, I'm going to Tupelo. There's a girl down there that'll treat me fair. Get about a week of spring and the summer is blistering. There ain't no one from here that'll follow me there. No, there ain't no one from here that'll follow me there.
It's about like, I'm going through some shit right now. You know, I'm down in the hole, but there's an idealistic, better place that I'll be in, you know, when I get out, which is, it's good to have hope, but you also have to face the problems at hand. So it's kind of, it also touches on like the idea of, you know, false hope in those situations.
It's always been one of my favorites.
It's a good one. That's one of the ones that I'll listen to like just cue up if I'm in the right mood. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I can't even quantify it. Like, I think it's just like the signature guitar riff and how he sings along with it in the chorus. I've realized I've realized that I'm definitely a more musically influenced like music listener than a lyrical
okay.
Like listener.
I thought you were just saying you're a music influence music. I was like, what is that?
Because I love lyrics, and that's one of the reasons I love Jason Isbell and Dawes and like Bahamas and like people like that. But it takes me longer to get lyrics than it does just hearing the music and like feeling the music.
I mean, that makes sense to me.
It was something that was harder to articulate before we started this podcast and before I like really dug into all different kinds of music and even learning just a little bit about music theory. It makes it easier to say like, oh yeah, I'm definitely drawn to songs by just the way the instruments sounds and the arrangement of sounds versus like the actual words that are happening. Like the sound of a singer's voice versus what they're actually saying.
I mean, music is the language of the soul, and music theory is the human speaking language that we attribute to describe those feelings. So I get that. Like learning a little bit of music theory, you can really articulate, you know, you're just building that vocabulary where you can isolate like, I like this, here's what it's called. My little dumb monkey brain is going to file that in the right cabinet drawer.
Dumb monkey brain.
Dude, everything I do, I blame it on dumb monkey brain.
A little stupid primate brain.
But yeah, and Tupelo is great from both a lyric and just like feel standpoint. Yeah. That's a lot of. I mean, the solo in it is another simple solo that's just exactly what the song needs. Like it's just a little break, nothing flashy. It continues mostly the themes that are going on in the melody throughout the song. It's all about the feel of the track. And so the other thing I like about the song is from an album structure standpoint. I like that it's a good standalone track and it's got like the non-specific quote unquote hole that the protagonist is getting out of. But it also, in the album order, immediately follows the song Cumberland Gap, which is about coal country, and the whole course of that song is swallowing you. Maybe the Cumberland Gap just swallows you whole, making it a very literal sense. Following that song, I have to think that was intentional. Like, this could also be a continuation of getting out of the hole you're being swallowed in by, like, the small town trap that you're in. So I think that's just very good album structure. I always like to look for that.
Yeah, it definitely can.
And that's something
I'd never thought of it that way.
Yeah, I didn't really have it until really looking at the track list this week, and that's always something I enjoy, because as we've done the podcast more and more and more, I've just thought about albums as like standalone entire pieces of art. And so I like to think of them like how a movie, like how different scenes fit into each other, and see if there's, really good albums to me have a through thread like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's just a really cool thing that I didn't pick up on until this week. So I definitely wanted to highlight that. What'd y'all think about White Man's World?
I was gonna let you go, Nick.
I just wanted to. I was waiting out Jordan. I was gonna see if he would say anything, but
I almost did, but then I was like, nah, I don't know. I didn't get to dissect the lyrics as much as I wanted to. This was one of the songs that I wanted. I honestly just forgot. I forgot to, because this one seems like it'd be a little bit charged, But
yeah, it's
why don't you go ahead
charged.
and
I feel like it's.
Why don't you go ahead and give us the 10-4 on the White Man's World.
I feel like it's one of the most in your face songs on the album for sure. I was reading an interview that he did about the song, and he was saying that he feels like his fan base, a lot of people in his fan base listen to a lot of different kinds of music, because his music kind of blends different genres together, and he feels like he's in a unique spot to where if those people are already open-minded, maybe if they don't think what he really thinks about these like socio-political issues that he's singing about in the song, maybe he can influence them in the form of a song in this song specifically. And because this song is like super, like I would say politically charged. It's like politically charged, but it's also just like socially charged, and like it would be very easy for someone to label it as like some like liberal like anthem, but it's really just coming from a place of like frustration and empathy to me. Him singing about his wife and his daughter not having like the same equal opportunities he has, and also singing about feeling guilty about not standing up for other people when he should have, like minorities specifically, when he says like let me find it so I don't misquote it.
You're probably quoting the verse 4 is the most I like.
Yeah, when he says I'm a white man. Yeah, he says I'm a white man looking in a black man's eyes, wishing I'd never been one of the guys who pretended not to hear another white man's joke. Oh, the times ain't forgotten.
I'm a white man looking in a black man's eyes, wishing I'd never been one of the guys who pretended not to hear another white man's joke. Old times ain't forgotten.
It's like holding
based country.
Based country? Like he's holding himself accountable while also like explaining this message to other people, and that's something that always convicts me as a listener, is when someone can admit their own mistakes and they're not preaching from a high place of power or something. Sure, he's a musician who has like plenty of money and like lives a comfortable life, but he does a different kind of labor to get there. It's not like hard back-breaking work, but I couldn't write anything like this in like 40 years.
Yeah. But and something he says time and time again in any interview where people ask him, they're like, you're like a liberal country guy, and he's like, yeah, you know, he says he constantly says, especially more and more after he had. So this album came out right after he had his first kid, his only kid.
Okay.
Is her name Mercy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have mercy on me.
So him and Amanda had their kid, and that's really so. This is where he talks about that in this song, but then also later on in the album and in subsequent songs, as he's made since then. But he said in multiple interviews, one of my favorite interviews he's ever done is with the author and like Professor George Saunders. I don't know if you guys have heard his name.
I know that.
He's kind of famous. He rates like historical things and teaches classes. I don't remember where. But GQ
actually don't know.
has a 54-minute interview of George Saunders asking Jason questions. It's a great interview. I highly recommend anyone check it out if you want to like just love this guy. But
Jamie,
he said, I'm trying to remember exactly what he said, but he said like the essence of it is, you know, like people say you have this platform, you're one of the like the wealthy whatevers. But he said, you know, I feel like yes, I've amassed this following through lots of hard work and, you know, pain and shit. But if I don't use my voice to speak for those who don't have one, then I shouldn't be doing anything in the public eye. Like I'm wasting my time. So if you follow him on Twitter and stuff, he's just as adamant there. Like he recently came out his band. He said, I'm not performing anywhere unless like no one. I'm not performing at shows unless it's required for everyone to provide a COVID test result and like a vaccine.
Oh
like,
dang!
Proof. And people are all up in arms about it. And he's like, if you can't do this, then I don't want you at my show. Like, if you don't care about your neighbor enough, I don't want you in my fan base. And he said that. He said that in the past where people have asked him, like, when he first started being... I mean, he was with the drive-by truckers who were, like, militantly left-wing.
Yes.
Always have been.
Incredibly left-wing.
But they're also just drunk and rowdy Southern bar rock for the most part. So a lot of their fan base are the same people who unironically love Fortunate Son for, like, July 4th holidays, barbecues, and shit like that. And people asked him, so when he started on his own stuff, you know, making White Man's World and just speaking out more on Twitter and stuff, being more socially active, people would ask him, they're like, are you not worried about, like, alienating, like, part of your fan base? He's like, if there are people who listen to my music and then hear me say things or me sticking up for like the disenfranchised and like those who don't have voices, and they feel like they don't want to listen to my music, I don't want their money. That's like blood money as far as I care. Like I don't want racist dollars at my shows. He's like, and I think that most of my fans who, he said, by and large, it's the vocal minority who are like those people. He said, like, for the most part, you know, I would rather have people at my shows who aren't racist or like homophobic or xenophobic or whatever. He's like, I don't want their money. Like I've gotten to a point where I'm successful enough, I'm comfortable enough to where I don't need to worry about that. So I don't want those fuckers in my show. Like,
sorry, I'm being mean to country music people.
Yeah, and there are levels.
Saying all country music is racist.
So
I'm kidding. I'm so kidding.
So that's the thing. I love this song.
And I like something like I love the lyrics and the message of the song, and
the chorus especially is like what I live by. Like, I'm gonna say it specifically, but it's there's no such thing as someone else's war. Your creature comforts aren't the only thing worth fighting for. You're still breathing. It's not too late. We're all carrying one big burden, sharing one fate.
There's no such thing as someone else's war. Your creature comforts aren't the only things worth fighting for. Still breathing, it's not too late. We're all carrying one great burden, sharing one fate.
I mean, this was back in 2017, and I feel like since then, that message has just only ever become more and more and more poignant as, like, at least in America. It's just like, so everything is so charged. Like, the fact that a deadly virus has somehow become a political issue we're fucking doomed, bro. Like, doomed.
Kind of are, bro.
Like the end times. So I mean, like more and more, that's just I feel like societal issues shouldn't be. They're apolitical. Like, isn't the whole idea of everyone, regardless of like all morality in essence, is like help each other, whether it be any sort of organized religion or it be just if you're non-religious and you don't want to be a fucking dickhead, you should just always want to help your fellow person regardless of anything. So like just more and more I love the chorus to this song.
Yeah,
true, James.
it has like I feel like I used to not like the sound of it, like I was talking about before, or maybe I thought it was, I didn't think it was on the nose. Like it was. I think I was coming from a point where I was like, I agree with these things. I don't like. It's not like I don't need to be reminded. Like I don't know. It just, the song didn't like hit for me for a long time, but I enjoyed it a lot more than I used to.
I get that. If you feel like you're in the right mindset, which I think we can all grow and evolve, but if you perceive yourself in the right mindset, it is very heavy-handed. So I could see like being of the persuasion of like, okay, yeah, like I got that already. So I get what you mean. I and it was the same thing as Cumberland Gap, where it definitely has grown on me in time. Like the first sound, because it's not like hard rock, but it picks up compared to Tupelo. So yeah, I mean, it definitely grew on me, and I get what you mean, because for stuff like that, I think I even had like that bullshit knee jerk like I'm already woke mentality, especially like last May and June with the really rise of just putting all of even more systemic racism just on display in America.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, yeah, like I'm already woke, but like even then, there's still lots of things to unpack. So I can see that. I can see that mentality for sure.
Mm-hmm. There's always room to grow.
It's a bad thing. Yeah, exactly. If you're not getting better a little bit every day, what's the point?
Exactly.
Sure.
And there's nothing wrong with a little reminder.
Exactly. You gotta. What is it? Regular show. The first step to getting, or no, it's Adventure Time. The first step to getting kind of good at something is sucking at something or something.
True.
We can all be better,
Can all be better.
But yeah, so this one grew on me, and another one that has also grown on me exponentially in time is If We Were Vampires.
Me too, honestly. Because I used to like it, and now I really love it, and I had no idea it was like dramatically his biggest song.
Oh, and this album?
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, it has like it has more streams than like any of his other songs.
This one blew the fuck up.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Cover Me Up, but it's like, I feel like Cover Me Up is his most famous song, but this one has 80 million streams on Spotify, and that's like 75 million more than like any of the other top songs by the 400 unit. I know.
This one, I think this one got radio play. It's also a big reason why this one got so big. I think it got radio play.
I feel like this one sounds a lot like Chaos Enclosed a little bit though, which is why I was like, why don't you like Chaos Enclosed as much? Is it the lyrics or is it a
little bit of both?
Mood of the song?
A little bit of both. This one's a little bit different from a musical standpoint. It's more, you have to know the nuances of the genre to feel it a little bit more. Like on the surface level, they're very similar, but they're very different songs.
Nuance in the genre now.
But the big one for me, this song is huge.
We don't understand drill. You don't understand Americana.
Yeah, we all have spots to grow in. That's what the point of this podcast is to help educate in an entertaining manner. True. But this song is like 40 tons heavy to me. Like this song is crazy, and it's one. And I fell into the trap when this album came out, as a lot of people do, where I'm like, man, this is such a sad song, but it's not. It's a beautiful song about like hope and thankfulness, and that was something that I really had to. I mean, I just had to mature as a person, honestly, to get what this song means more.
To me, it's like it feels sad, but it inspires a feeling of gratefulness for all the moments that it mentions.
this song hits so heavy, and I couldn't even imagine if I was like, okay, so to explain this, so the song, it sounds sad, but it is actually it's a song about living a life and growing with another person. Like, it's like, I guess, a marriage song, I guess. Another great one, if you haven't heard it, is Flagship off of Something More Than Free, but we'll do that album sometime. But sorry, so this song started off as like a sad song to me, but then I've realized that it's not. So it starts out saying surface things, like it's not the long flowing dress that you're in, it's not the light bouncing off, like it's not the things that. It just starts off saying it's not the things that initially attract you to a person. You know, they're looking hot, they're looking bad in the moonlight, they're in a long pretty gown, you know. They're looking bad in he even says it's not the way that you talk me back from the ledge, like how talking to his wife Amanda, how she saved his life by making him go to rehab instead of, like, you know, dying from alcoholism. He's saying it's not that, and then the chorus is I gotta look up the actual wording because it's beautiful poetry.
It's knowing that this can't go on forever. Likely one of us will have to spend some days alone. Maybe we'll get 40 years together, but one day I'll be gone. One day you'll be gone.
It's knowing that this can't go on forever. Likely one of us will have to spend some days alone. Maybe we'll get 40 years together, but one day I'll be gone, or one day you'll be gone. Like, holy shit. That's crazy heavy. And so then it goes on, and I really love this second verse. Is some of my favorite lyrics on the album.
If we were vampires and death was a joke, we'd go out on the sidewalk in the smoke and laugh at all the lovers and their plans. I wouldn't feel the need to hold your hand. Maybe time running out is a gift. I'll work hard till the end of my shift and give you every second I can find. Hope it isn't me who's left behind. It's knowing that this can't go on forever.
But it's if we were vampires and death was a joke, we'd go out on the sidewalk and smoke, laugh at all the lovers and their plans. I wouldn't feel the need to hold your hand. Maybe time running out is a gift. I'll work hard till the end of my shift and give you every second I can find and hope it isn't me who's left behind. Which is crazy. Like, the message alone, regardless of how you word that, is so heavy. Talking about, like, it's not the surface things that are the substance to what a relationship should be and what a fulfilling relationship is, but rather it's the fact that you don't have forever to be together. So you really, the fact that time runs out means that you in a good environment, you feel compelled to make the most of what you're given. Dude, and just so death is a thing I wrestle with. I used to have, like, I guess panic. In hindsight, they were panic attacks.
And in this corner, death, the challenger Jamie Beamgar will be going head to.
No, like there was like a point, like a core memory in my mind is like being in biology in like sophomore year of high school. And just thinking about how even if we solve death, ultimately the sun's going to destroy the universe. So no matter what, there is a finite end. And I like couldn't breathe. I was like, I got to go to the bathroom. But I just walked down the hallway a bunch for like 5 minutes and was like, so that was like the first time. And then it happens, like, it honestly happens a lot in like when I'm taking a shower. Suddenly my brain's like, you're going to die, bitch. There's an end no matter what. And then I freak out.
Imagine if our high school biology teacher walked out of the classroom and like saw you pacing down the hallway, and he's like, "No, Jamie, what's wrong?" And you're like, "I'm gonna die." He wouldn't know what to do. He'd be so sudden, bro.
But yeah, and so that alone is enough to make this song really resonate with me, because the last lines, so this song, it started out, I was like, okay, you know, it's a sad song. I like sad songs because I'm a senior in high school with a lot of angst, whatever. And now I come at it, I love it from a different angle where, you know, as I've had the last 4 and some change years to grow with Vic, and then, you know, we're getting married. Crazy. We're getting married in relatively soon.
True.
I'm going to have
really getting married to a girl, dude.
Family and shit. And so it's like, as I've grown so much in our relationship alone. And so it's like, this song really hits home. I couldn't imagine what it would feel like to be like 30 years from now in a marriage, like be like 60 with your partner. But I mean, because even now it's like the idea of working hard to give them a good life. Like I feel that I'm just now starting to be able to contribute with a full-time job, and you know, just the idea of give you every second I can find and hope it isn't me who's left behind, like selfishly wanting to die first because you don't want to have to live on life beyond the partner that you're with. Like that shit hits me every fucking time, deeper than like 90% of all lyrics that I've ever heard. Like that line alone is enough to like.
Oh, so I was gonna say, imagine one of you has to die first too,
right,
know?
Dude. It stays on your mental, bro.
That's scary, dude. That's scary.
And you know, we cover it and joke and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna date this person when you die." So that's like a joke, but it's like that's like a
wait, what?
It's like a joke, just to like use comedy.
You're gonna say I get a date.
Well,
wait,
like
I just don't even know the joke you're talking.
Is what he said.
Yeah, like between the two, because it's but I mean that is using comedy to cover like the heavy universal truth of like death. And so this song, like, it's completely transformed. It's done like an entire 180 since this album first came out for me. But it's a great track. I can't cue it up all the time, like Tupelo or Last of My Kind or something, because if it catches me in like the right mood, it's immediate like tears to the eye. Like it's crazy.
Oh.
And so that's Nick. You said someone danced to it at their wedding, right?
Yeah.
And from a lyrical, poetic standpoint, that makes sense to me. But I couldn't do it because I would just immediately have this like soul crushing feeling if it caught me wrong. Where I'd be like,
yeah.
I don't know. It just this one always hits so hard for me, and more so every time I listen to it.
I hadn't listened to the song in months, and it was last week before we recorded the last episode. I was just like drying dishes after I made dinner, just listening to the album, and I was just singing along because I knew like most of the words to all the songs, and I was singing along to "If We Were Vampires," and it was the second verse. That's my favorite part of the song too, where he says, "It's like if we were vampires and death was a joke, we'd go out on the sidewalk and smoke, laugh at all the lovers and their plans." And I was just singing like, I wouldn't feel the need to hold your hand, and like my voice cracked a little bit, and I was like, wait, am I about to cry? Like, what is going to happen? I didn't like cry, but I was like, what? Like I'm in my subconscious feels right now. I didn't even realize this was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but I'm telling you that this is one of those songs where
it's just built different.
If it catches you right, it's like a fucking like blindside right hook. Like it's crazy how immediate this shit can hit you. But like I was saying, how I used to have panic attacks about death and stuff. That feeds right into the next song, which is Anxiety on the album.
True.
Anxiety.
Which when this is another one. When the album first came out, I wasn't huge on it, but it's like it's really grown on me. I enjoy listening to it a lot now. I mean, just starting off with that, like how If We Were Vampires is a super low key song, and then starting off this song with just that like super loud guitar squeal that goes into really heavy instrumentation. It immediately lets you know it's like this is a different song. We've moved on. We're in a different mood now. But even with that, like the first verse, that shit just it really does hit me because, it's not the first verse. It starts off with the chorus, but it's how do you anxiety, how do you always get the best of me? I'm out here living in a fantasy and I can't enjoy a goddamn thing. Anxiety, why am I never where I'm supposed to be? Even with my lover sleeping close to me, I'm wide awake and I'm in pain.
Anxiety, how do you always get the best of me? I'm out here living in a fantasy. I can't enjoy a goddamn thing. Anxiety, why am I never where I'm supposed to be? Even with my lover sleeping close to me, I'm wide awake and I'm in pain.
I didn't really have so especially moving out here, and then after like the first part where jobs weren't working out and I was like in disparity of like, fuck, like why, like I went to school for 4 years and they constantly were like, you'll be so marketable, but if you leave RTP, it gets a lot less marketable apparently, I guess. But yeah, so it's like stuff wasn't panning out, and then it was just like, you know, we just have times where I'm like, in one hand, it's only been a month. People wait like years to get jobs. On the other hand, I mentally was going to have a job when I moved out here, and so I had a lot of like stress and, you know, freaking out. And and once again in hindsight, like mild panic attacks, I guess, in the shower, where I'd just be like, suddenly I'd be like, I have no money, and I like have like, what the fuck am I doing? And so that part hits home for me, you know. Living, I mean, Vic's got, you know, a great setup out here, and so it's like we're living a good life out here, and we got like Leo, and it's all good. But I just would also have that just random bouts of like freaking out for like 5 to 10 minutes, and then just having to be like, okay, chill.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, so that the first verse really relates to me. Like I feel that a lot now, but also like the musical structure of the song, where it's like, it starts off super loud, and then it, for the most of the meat of the song, it's you know you've relaxed and you're chill, and then it ends, you think you're done, and it's back, and it's like, that's kind of like how anxiety works. You know, it's not a constant it's constant thing. It ebbs and flows, right? And so I think the song, I learned it from Cole Kushner's new podcast, Texture Painting, where either the lyricism reflects the song or the musicality reflects the subject matter of the song, and that's what this one does very well. I think my favorite musical point on it, though, is it's in the second verse. It kind of splits into half, where he says, I don't remember what he says before, but he says, "Give me a minute, 'cause I'm way down in it. I can't breathe, so I can't speak." But so that musical part where like the instrumentation cuts out there,
really says, "Give me a minute."
It's the weight of the world, but it's nothing at all. Light as a prayer, and then I feel myself fall. You gotta give me a minute, 'cause I'm way down in it, and I can't breathe, so I can't speak. I wanna be strong and steady, always ready now. Feel so small, I feel so weak. Anxiety.
Yep.
And then it's like, you know, it's like he's telling life stressors, like, hold up.
Wait a minute.
Gotta fix this. Move on. So I was, that part always really, I really like that part of the song.
Yeah, I really relate with right before that when he says it's the weight of the world, but it's nothing at all. Like, I don't know. I'm a semi-anxious person, I'd say, like socially anxious, I guess. But like,
oh, Nikki.
But like I think about it, and there's no reason for it, and it's hard to pinpoint it. Like, but like it's nothing at all. But it's also it's strange and like difficult to describe. But it just feels like it's there, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just shows that, the texture painting and then the lyricism. It shows that it's not it's not a binary experience. It's not full on, full off. It's something that it ebbs and flows. I think it's just part of the human experience. Once you get past the dumb monkey brain of like, I literally have to hunt or I will die. Once you have time to like have idle time, you can get in some pretty dark spaces with that. It's just interesting. And you can look at the influences of social media and how being ever connected can influence. It's a whole thing. But yeah.
Hey, whoa! There's no direct linkage that you can make there, so it's obviously not true, Jamie.
Oh, you're right. I'm so silly.
We're the most connected we've ever been. How can we be the most alone we've ever been? Am I right?
I've seen the movie Her, and I don't believe it.
Dude, I'd love to have a robot girlfriend.
I saw Inside in theaters, so I can speak on this.
Inside?
Which one is Inside?
What is that about?
The Bo Burnham special.
Oh, yes. I was thinking of,
I'm telling you.
What's that? What's the
indie game?
Inside Out.
Inside Out.
Yeah. I coincidentally also saw that in theaters.
I did.
That was a good movie.
Too. That was a good movie. It was fucking sad though.
This is a.
What's
it was sad.
Bon?
No,
Bing Bong.
Bing Bong.
Dude, I literally said go back and listen to this episode again. I said Bing Bong earlier whenever you were talking.
Core memory?
Yes, I said.
Yeah, because that's
Bing Bong. No. I think Nick started talking after that. I was like, Bing Bong. No.
Dude, that.
I don't think anybody heard me though. So.
That movie's so sad too.
Bro, the look in his eyes. Oh god.
I didn't even think Bing Bong was the saddest part. That wasn't the part that made me cry. The part that made me cry is like seeing like kids like the evolution of life and thinking back to like just
when you had a small baby kid brain.
No, missing like nostalgic times. Like I said, anything with death and evolution of time really fucks with me. All right, and that movie did it.
It does.
I want to see Soul still. I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, you got to see Soul. It's so good.
Musical Pixar?
And it's beautiful. That movie is one of the most beautiful things I've seen, like art-wise, in years. It is so good. Watch it on a good TV.
That didn't hit me as hard because I think people overhyped it, and then I was like looking too hard for it.
I wouldn't say it's as like heartstring pulley as other ones are, like other Pixar movies, but I just loved like the story was really good. It makes you think, and then like the visuals of it are fucking incredible, dude.
See, I don't think you've seen the latest beautiful movie, The Suicide Squad by James Gunn.
I haven't. No, I actually do want to see it. It's supposed to be way better.
It actually
than
does look pretty decent.
Yeah. But back to this song. But this actually touches on why Inside really fucked with me. In Molotov, the next song on the album, it mentioned earlier. I gotta pull up I don't want to butcher the words. But it's the second verse is my favorite part of it. Time flies when you're the song's about settling down, wanting to be someone who's like, living life. Talks about broke a promise to myself. The chorus is I broke the promise to myself to ride the throttle till the wheels came off, burn out like a Molotov in the night sky. I broke a promise to myself, made a couple to a brown-eyed girl who rode with me through the meat-owned world.
I broke a promise to myself to ride the throttle till the wheels came on, burn out like a Molotov in the night sky. I broke a promise to myself and made a couple to a brown-eyed girl who rode with me through the mean old world. Never say die.
Never say die.
Brown-eyed girl, huh?
Maybe it's a reference to Van Morrison. But yeah, so that's the course of it. But the second verse is time flies when you're making babies. The lines that I love are, do you miss your little black Mercedes? Do you miss the girl you once had time to be?
Time flies when you're making babies. Do you miss your little
that line right there, it goes on talking about just hoping that it'll be cut in, the listeners hear it. But the important part, that line, do you miss the girl you once had time to be? Replace girl with like whatever you identify as a child. Like that line alone, I saw someone ingenious, someone in the comments of the song, they said, that line is quietly devastating. And I was like, that is an excellent way to phrase that. Or maybe it was on the Tiny Desk on YouTube or whatever, because I watched that in preparation for this too. But like that alone just nails the feeling of wistfulness for quote unquote glory days of youth, wishing you had the free time and that you could capitalize on now, the longing for it, the fact that you don't have that as an adult, you have all the money and no time to use it. Like, yeah, that line alone is fucking crazy from a songwriting standpoint. I think it's one of his like perfect lines where it conveys all of the emotion, but it's also not super heavy or dense. It's so simple, and yet like you could tell that line was workshopped the fuck out of it. Like that was not a first thought on paper. That was a just final draft version. Like that alone is what that's like why I like this song so much. That verse right there is really what sells this song for me.
That was a.
I have many notes about that song.
Yeah, that was a. That
I didn't take any notes about.
Do what?
Sorry, I was just saying I didn't take a lot of notes about Molotov.
I got you. Yeah, that was
Molotov.
That was that was my main takeaway from the song too, Jamie. That was like one of the main lines I remembered from the Tiny Desk, and it was a big one for sure.
For sure. That's a home run line. That is a heavyweight line. Yeah, and we already talked about Chaos and Clothes. I didn't have any notes from it.
Oh yeah.
But I also
Chaos and Clothes.
So then moving down on this, Hope the High Road is also another high point. It's one of my favorites on the album. I love how it starts out. It's once again, it's a line that conveys, I mean, just so concisely, or I guess it's a couplet, but it conveys just so concisely the wisdom that can only come with growing up and maturing, especially if you live in a small town. Kind of, once you're a senior in high school, you know, whether it's so cliche, but like you think that you're like top dog or whatever. Regardless, like I was a very meek person, but like senior year, I was like, "Fuck it, I'm just living life right now."
Yeah.
Like the summer of senior year.
Boy, don't try to catch me with the shooters. Yeah.
but so the song starts out. I used to think that this was my town. What a stupid thing to think.
I used to think that this was my town. What a stupid thing to think. I hear you biting off a breakdown. I myself am on the brink. I used to want to be a real man. I don't know what that even means. Now I just want you in my arms again, and we can search each other's dreams.
Like that's so funny, and yet it nails that idea of like, I was just a dumbass kid, bro. Like
you ain't big, bro.
You ain't shit.
You ain't.
And so
bruh.
I think that once again, that's just it nails it's the wisdom that can only come from growing and maturing, right?
Yeah.
And so I've always loved that. That was one of my. I think that's one of the lines that my dad picked up early when the album came out. I was like, that's pretty funny. But then he says, you know, I hear you're fighting off a breakdown. I myself am on the brink. I used to want to be a real man. I don't even know what that means. Now I just want you in my arms again. We can search each other's dreams. But it's mostly like, I was a dumb kid. I hear you're going through some shit. Me too, bro. You know.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm lost in life now because of, you know, realizing the preconceived notions. Same thing that Led Zeppelin touches on in. I think it's Communication Breakdown.
Moby
it's either
Dick.
Communication. No. It's either Communication.
That's a 3-minute drum solo song.
No, it's not. It's but it's also on Zeppelin 1. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm blanking on this. What's
bro.
the other?
Fake fan.
Good Times, Bad Times.
It's like Lightning Elevator or something.
What?
Oh, Stairway to Heaven. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I see where you're going with that.
Halo Elevator.
No, that's Beyonce, dude.
Yeah, in Good Times, Bad Times, it starts out. In the days of my youth, I was told what it means to be a man. Now I've reached that age. I've tried all those things. No matter how I try, I find my way into the same old jam. But it's the same sentiment. 50 years, 60 years earlier? 50 years
You
earlier.
say it's the same cinnamon?
Sentiment.
What kind of cinnamon you eating, bro?
Nutmeg.
What kind of sentiment?
Nutmeg.
What one of my favorite lines in the songs, maybe on the album, is when he says, "I used to want to be a real man. I don't know what that even means." Because I picture kind of him as like a real man, like someone who unapologetically like speaks what they believe and like backs it up with intelligent thought, and like who isn't
even
just
him
like
is saying like, I don't fucking know what I'm doing.
It's like it's just like owning up to your insecurities and like being comfortable with who you are is like being a real man.
That was one of my favorite things I think I've learned over, albeit a very easy and short almost 22 years of life, is the fact that like every adult, everyone's just making it up as we go. Like you can take in all the resources and do all the reading and planning you want. No one knows what the fuck's going on. You could go to any job and everyone like day by day is like, we're all faking it till we make it. That's just what life is comprised of. True. That's all adulthood is. And so like that was a lesson that I'm very glad that I learned early on, where I was like, why am I worried about asking someone a question? They also don't know what's going on. That was also a lesson that I self-taught whenever being in like service industry jobs and people ask you shit and I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just going to say an answer that is going to get them to like believe me. Like I don't fucking know. So I just assume everyone's kind of doing that.
Yes, ma'am, the ranch is in the back.
I was going to say Jordan at the drive-thru at Dairy.
Dude, the Dairy.
I promise. I'm not lying to you.
And that's why like I also don't get mad if people don't know answers in like public spaces, cuz we're all making it up. Like life is way easier if you're not a fucking moron and you just kind of understand that, We're all dumb, but just don't be stupid about being dumb. I don't know if that makes sense.
Don't be stupid about being dumb. I like it. That should be on our next merch shirt.
Writing that down right now. Don't be stupid about being dumb.
Yep. There we go.
All right. That's going on there. Look for that at interestpointproductions.com in the near future.
But yeah, I don't think I have much more to say about this song.
My neighbor.
Then I'll make my last point on it. I love the second verse because it's an Easter egg for Jason's discography. So his debut album, I think it was between rehab stints. I think it was post the first one that didn't stick, but pre the second one that stuck. But it was his first debut album, kind of. He wrote really some of the best songs for the Truckers. Some of the best songs he's ever written, I think, were Goddamn Lonely Love and Outfit and Decoration Day. They're all classics, right? Mm-hmm. But his debut solo album was a very, like, if you listen to it, especially compared to his newer stuff, disparaged album called Sirens of the Ditch. And the song is about, the siren, the folklore siren is, a beautiful creature that allures sailors to their doom. So he's singing these grand songs about his life in the moment, but ultimately it's a facade and he's leading people to like misery loves company, right? So that's what Sirens of the Ditch is. It's luring people into the ditch. We're down in the sinkhole. That's a different Trucker song. But it's, just bringing someone down on your level because you feel bad and hate yourself. You want others to be on your level so that you can feel better than them. But so there's a line in the second verse of this song, which I love. But it's I've heard enough of the white man's blues. I've sang enough about myself. So if you're looking for some bad news, you can find it somewhere else. Last year was a son of a bitch, literally meaning 2016, where I don't know if y'all remember, but like, Prince, Leonard Cohen, just like a bunch of famous people died in 2016. So literally that's what he's meaning. But also you could reflect that to just in an abstract manner. Last year was a hell of a year for nearly everyone who knew. But I ain't fighting with you down in the ditch. I'll meet you up here on the road.
I heard enough of the white man's blues. I've sang enough about myself. So if you're looking for some bad news, you can find it somewhere else. Last year was the son of a bitch for nearly everyone we know. But I ain't fighting with you down in the ditch. I'll meet you up here on the road.
I don't know this, but I've always interpreted that line to be a callback to literally a decade before of being in such a bad place that, like, back in the day with that album, I wanted people to join me in my turmoil. But now I've gotten out and I'm not dealing with that ditch anymore. I want to help you elevate yourself to get out of that hole and meet me up here on the high road. And then the chorus is, I hope the high road leads you home again. So that's what I've always thought of that. And I love that. Like, a callback, maybe unintentional. I have to think intentional with how intentional everything this guy does is. I have to think that that's like an Easter egg for either the true fans or just not even true fans, but just people who've like followed his life. Like, I think, or even maybe he's writing that to his past self. I don't know. But I love how that's just such a really cool one-off line that if you read deeper, it's like the MCU. It's like, it's really cool one-off, but if you go a step further, it's really fucking cool. Yeah. So I've always loved that verse and that line, both from the sentiment that it brings and also how it's like it's just like an Easter egg, I guess, on the album.
I got you.
It's just really cool though. Yeah, and then my last thoughts on the album would be I love Something You Love. I think it's a great bluegrassy way to wrap up the album after he's gone over such an like a lot of valleys with this one, but he ends on a similar note as he starts it with. But it's okay. Once again, I'm gonna bring up Macklemore on this podcast.
Oh,
Nick's the Radiohead guy. I've realized I'm apparently the Macklemore guy.
What guy am I?
But the song is the first album following his daughter.
Awkward. He didn't want to answer the question.
What'd you say?
I said, what guy am I?
I guess you're the Pop Smoke guy.
Yes, welcome everybody.
But so this is the first album following the birth of his daughter, and so I said every album, but he's only technically put out reunions, which also ends on a song about his daughter from a parental standpoint. Which is very sad as well. That one hits me home, and I don't even have kids yet.
It'd be like that.
But this song has very similar vibes to the song "Growing Up" on Macklemore's sophomore project, "This Unruly Mess I've Made," talking about it's just a fatherly advice to his kid. Like, these are the lessons I've learned in life. I'm passing it on. I think
Between
my
the Lines
favorite
by Sturgill Simpson.
Yeah, another great one. But this, so I love the third verse on the song. I'll cut it in right now before I start moving. And then there's the bluegrass instrumental that follows it. I love it. But it was pointed out on Genius, and then when it was pointed out, it was immediately one of those things where it's like, I guess I thought this, I just hadn't actualized it yet. But this is kind of a spiritual successor and really interesting once again to see the growth of someone in their career. One of his breakout hits was a song he wrote for the Drive-By Truckers called Outfit, which is an immaculate song. Like, that song is great. Actually, side note, I wanted to get the chorus to that song tattooed on me, and I still might do it at some point, I think. Because it's great. It's if you read beyond the literal words and just get the underlying message, phenomenal mantra to live by. But one of the things that my dad and I have always bonded over, even from me being an early age, was music. And so he was what really got me into Jason Isbell and then the Drive-By Truckers senior year of high school. And then it's actually like, you know, how parents give you like a letter or some like written like send off whenever at least both my parents did that when I went to college.
Yeah. I can totally relate to that. So our family is kind of weird where we're not like super touchy-feely and super emotive. Like we all know that we love each other, but we don't constantly. And now we're at a point where I try and actively say like I love you whenever I hang up the phone to my parents and stuff. But that's just a thing that's came in hindsight. But like at the time, it was like, you know, we always have had good relationships, but it wasn't like a super emotive relationship. So then like, I mean, when both my parents gave me like very heartfelt written things, like those things stick with you, right? And he ended his, like what he told me about like when I went off to college, he ended it with by writing like he sent an email, which is like a digital letter. So he ended his letter with just the last paragraph was the chorus to that song. And that has just always stuck with me. Cause the song is about Jason's dad giving him his advice when he was going off into the world. And then now I find it interesting that Jason is ending this album with he's now that dad passing on advice to his child. And I think it's just so cool to see like that's Outfit came out in I think it was 2003, 2002, 2003. And so now like, you know, 14 years later, he's doing that. Like he's creating that song again from his standpoint. I love to I think it's so cool to see that that growth in an artist. Yeah.
I think it's so cool. And I think that wraps up my very long notes for the album. I had quite a lot I wanted to say. This album, it was way more to me than I thought it was at the start of the week.
I didn't open up a can of worms. I opened up a can of Jamie's inner emotions for this album.
Yeah, I guess I got really expose on this shit. You know, I talked about how I used to have panic attacks about death and how I think about in my marriage one of us has to die first, and then I talked about what my dad wrote me on my send off to adulthood. So
true.
Aww.
Damn, apparently this one covers a lot.
True.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you could have a deeper appreciation for it. Do what?
I even just bumped up the score a little bit more.
Oh.
Ooh.
Then I just bumped it down a little bit more.
Oh, Jordan's getting. Do we have our first
Savage.
sub 3 rating?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess. Do you guys have any final thoughts before we rate it?
I don't think so. I'll just say that Something to Love has like almost flipped around and become one of my favorite songs on the album. I think because of its bluegrass nature and also like him reminiscing about his childhood and also just like talking to his daughter and like also like Amanda singing backing vocals while they're like singing to their daughter. It's just it's very heartfelt. But
yeah, that's even another layer to it. Like how I was talking about Outfit started Jason solo with his dad's advice. Now it's literally him, and then also, you know, it's both parents coming together. It's a very good song. I highly recommend listening to it if you haven't heard it before.
Yeah, but I'll pop off my rating.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
You start it, and then Jordan, and then I'll go because I choose next week.
Yep.
True.
I'm gonna pop off with a solid 9. Because I do like I love Jason Isbell as an artist, and this isn't even one of my favorite albums by him.
Bro, I love him as a man too. Let's be honest.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, it's it's crazy that this isn't even one of my favorite albums by him, and I still know all the songs on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, nine's definitely a solid rating. I pass the mic to you, Jordan.
So, yeah, Jordan, what are you gonna give it? What's the verdict?
I'm gonna give this bad boy a 4.5.
Okay. More than Southeastern?
That is.
It gets a half
a point more than Southeastern. Understandable. I
it's just not my genre,
yeah.
dude. I couldn't listen to any of these songs probably again. Or like I could listen to them again, but like not like I don't think I'd enjoy it that much.
Right. I get that.
I thought about picking a Turnpike Troubadours album, but I think it would make your brain melt, Jordan, with the amount of fiddle that they have.
That would be even more into that. Dude, we'll do Old Crow Medicine Show.
Maybe
sometime,
I like
maybe.
fiddle. You don't know me,
dude. Medicine
like
Show is great.
The devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal.
That's Charlie Daniels' band, and that we could do, but you would be surprised at how not country they are, Jordan.
Well, that's probably why I like them, honestly.
Yeah, he said "son of a bitch" in that song. It's racy.
Rising up the bone, Charlie tell him what he's done. Rising up the bone, playing that fiddle.
Because the devil does a chord.
All right, sorry, Jamie. Go. What's your?
I'm gonna give this album. I was gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna give it a 9.25.
Oh, okay.
I bumped it up a quarter. So it's funny when Nick said he was gonna do this album when he announced it last week. I was thinking that's a solid 8, and then when upon further inspection on the song, I was like, man, or of this album, I was like, man, I like this a lot more than I thought I did. Like all the high points to me, I realized that I thought that it was more mixed with high points and low points, but it's not. Like it's very, but it, like you were saying, I already gave Southeastern a 10, and he's got some other 10s in my mind, and we'll get to that. Don't worry. But yeah, this one, I think the only reason it's not a 10 for me is Chaos and Clothes. Like I've never been huge on it. I don't know why. It just
interesting. Okay.
It doesn't do it for me. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna rock with a 9.25, which brings us to an average of 7.58, which brings it to 16th overall, sandwiched nicely between Half the City and Yay and The New Abnormal at 17th. Okay.
Yay.
So for reference, Southeastern was tied at 11th. So that was a little bit higher, but Jordan scored a higher, me and Nick scored a little lower, But I mean, I think Jason still, at least as of the George Saunders interview, so like 2018, he said that Elephant is the best song he's ever written, which I would say on Southeastern, which I would say it's hard. There I don't
know if I can name a better one.
There are a few songs that rival it, and I think it's one of my favorite songs written ever, like of any song. I also love Cover Me Up, but I talked about that last time. It's the perfect love song. Not Morgan Wallen. Fuck him. Jason Isbell. But so next week, as much as I really wanted to really short juice.
What? What did he say?
What did he say?
As much as I wanted to make Jordan just really hate us, I wanted to do a double header, but I'm not. I'm not doing another Isbell album.
Oh God,
good dude. What?
That'd have been too hard.
We are. We'll save it. Don't worry. We'll get there, audience. We're actually going to do. And then I had a different song or a different album in mind, but I had an impromptu change of heart before we started. We're going to be doing the album After Laughter by Paramore.
Oh, okay.
Which is from, depending on the Paramore fan, spits in the face of what Paramore stands for.
Oof.
But I love it. I think it's a great album. It's one.
Cover looks cool.
It's one that I forget about, and then like a song from it comes on the queue, and I'm like, oh yeah, this album exists. It's kind of this was one where they really switched up their sound, and people were like, yo, what the fuck? But I like it.
Yo, this ain't Paramount.
Yeah, we're going to be doing that next week. We'll see how that goes. Get some more female-centric music in here,
True.
Nice.
Got to diversify. Ugh. And honestly, I don't know the last time I listened to all of the songs on this album, so this is kind of an Igor situation for me. I know like 4 songs that I really like.
Okay.
So we see how it goes. But I thought, fuck it, why not, right?
Nice.
So then, really quick lightning round of sorry audience, this one's a little long.
Boo-hoo.
Really long.
Every Isbell album's gonna be really long. Got a lot to say.
Me and Jordan are just gonna start reacting. Next time we do a Isbell album, we're not gonna make a single note, and we're just gonna keep reacting to what you're saying.
Yo, Jamie, that's crazy.
Crazy.
Whoa, did you say you were sad about death? Whoa.
But okay, so lightning round. Still listening to a lot of Blonde. I throw that on a lot. I don't know why. Don't know what that says about me.
Contact better.
And then just kind of, let's do a few albums here and there to double check what I wanted to do next. And then I just said fuck it and chose one I thought of 5 minutes before we started. So,
nice.
There's that.
You know the vibe?
Obviously, quite a lot of Jason Isbell. And then also a lot of podcasts. I've been doing like Uber Eats in the meantime until I start a full-time gig. And I don't know, I like music a lot, but I found that I'm now one of the podcast on the drive persons. I'm no longer, like, rarely am I like music on the drives. Like, drives like that. Like short drives, obviously. But I'm a big podcast while driving guy now, so quite a lot of those.
Got you.
I got you.
Go off, Jordan. Come on. Tell us what you got. Come on.
I really just been listening to the same thing as last week. I really haven't found any new music this week, sadly. But I guess that's just been a lot of... I listened to Pop Smoke's first album just all the way through again a couple times while I was on vacation. I was also on vacation, so I didn't get a lot of time to like listen to new music. I just kind of listened to the old stuff that was downloaded already. But a lot of Pop Smoke still. I found out I was like top 4%, I think, of Pop Smoke right now. So, you know. Little flex. Don't need to flex too hard, but other than that, I've been listening to a lot of just stuff out of New York still. A lot of New York-based rappers. I just really like the sound coming out of there right now, so.
Got you. Yeah, I'm coming around to the new Bleachers album. I liked it first listen, but I'm liking it even more now. I think I'm gonna get back into the Clairo album pretty soon. I watched some YouTube videos with her and Jack Antonoff talking about it. We'll see. The Weeknd's new single, "Take My Breath," good, like a R&B like dance banger. And strange enough, I've been listening to some Randy Newman this week. The guy who did the Toy Story soundtrack. He
interesting.
He has a lot of like old satirical piano music, like Ben Folds or something like that. Actually, like pretty much just like Ben Folds, but like 30 years before. So it's been interesting.
Interesting. I wouldn't have expected that.
I'm eclectic.
It's true.
What can I say? My brain is just so big and wrinkly.
Oh, wronkly.
Is
so
eclecticism a sign of a wrinkly brain?
Yeah, it's a sign of
intelligence?
enormous intelligence.
Okay.
Of unsurpassed intellect.
Well, on the mention of Nick's wrinkly brain, we just want to say thanks again for listening this week, and remember to tune in next week where we'll be taking a look at After Laughter by Paramore. I almost messed up the title. Be sure to listen to it as much as you want so that you can have your own thoughts and mentally join in the discussion with us, per se, while we talk about the album. If you want to actually join in the discussion, you can throw a comment about your thoughts on this week's episode on YouTube or Instagram, or you can also tweet them at us. We're on Twitter at ListUpPodcast, and we're on Instagram at ListenUpPod. Sorry, they're not the same thing. But those accounts, as well as our personal handles, are going to be in the description of wherever you found this episode. Make sure to follow one or both of them should you feel so inclined. Then you can see any updates or announcement we make, because that's where we announce things. Also, if you enjoy the episode and feel like we've earned it, if you wanted to throw a rating or review our way on your respective platform, it would be appreciated. And once again, remember to check out the show merch we've got. You can find it at the socials. But other than that, for now, we'll catch you next week, and remember to listen up.